Thank you so much, Dame Rachel, Alfie and Anissa, for your incredibly inspiring words and setting the scene so perfectly with the theme of ambition and wraparound support and effective partnership as we now move into the celebration of our 2021 Innovation and Intrapreneurship Award winners. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tisha.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And together we lead our awards programs for supporting innovation and intrapreneurship, which, with our Scaling Award that you learned more about yesterday from our colleague C1, take a networked approach to nurture new ideas and scale impactful solutions to reach the young people who need it most.
The Innovation Award supports individuals with high potential ideas.
And our Intrapreneurship Award harnesses the first-hand knowledge and skills of our diverse membership to address the root causes of educational inequality. Our Innovation and Intrapreneurship Award winners receive a year-long programme of support and a £15,000 salary contribution to establish a new venture or to internally innovate within their organisation to establish a new initiative. We are so delighted to kick off the celebration this morning with a few words from Bloomberg, who have made the Innovation and Intrapreneurship Awards possible. So it's my great pleasure to now hand over to Caroline Rowley, Head of UK, Ireland and Middle East Corporate Philanthropy at Bloomberg, for a few words. Over to you, Caroline.
Thanks so much. I'm actually feeling the pressure following Alfie and Anissa. They were so fantastic. But good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today. Our founder, Mike Bloomberg, believes that every young person deserves the chance to get a high quality education, no matter where they live or how much money their family earns. And we know that access to high quality, inclusive education helps to strengthen our communities and makes the places where we live and work more vibrant and prosperous. As a result, we've been a long-term supporter and advocate of education initiatives that raise aspirations and level the playing field both here in the UK and globally. We're incredibly proud to support the Fair Education Alliance, building on the legacy of our partnership with the Innovation Unit, but also supporting existing charities to scale their reach and nurturing new innovative ideas to address unmet needs within education. And I'm sure that I don't need to tell anyone here today about the disproportionate impact of the pandemic on our vulnerable communities. And although we've seen incredible innovative measures to address educational inequality in the recent years, the need is unfortunately greater than ever. There is, however, room for optimism. As we've seen with the recent climate change talks, young people across the UK are passionate, dedicated, and unafraid to stand up for what they believe in. It's vital that we harness this energy, and that's why the work of the Fair Education Alliance and their belief in collaboration and collective action is so critical. I was personally lucky enough to sit on one of the judging panels for the awards and was absolutely blown away by the innovative ideas they have developed, but also by their passion and their commitment. Their ideas couldn't come at a more important time and will provide our young people with a platform for growth and success. We're so excited, and I'm personally so excited about supporting the award winners on their journey, and I can't wait to see their collective impact over the coming months and years. Thanks so much for having me, and I hope you all have a great morning.
Thank you so much, Caroline. We are just so incredibly grateful for your unwavering support to innovate and scale initiatives, your investment in the award winners, and your belief in the networked approach to impact. And we are so thrilled to be on the journey with you with the 2021 award winners.
The Innovation and Intrapreneurship Awards are annual awards, and over the past year, we've supported 10 award winners. We hope you've had the chance to meet some of them in various sessions already, and you will meet some of them today, including the wonderful Dana, a 2020 Innovation Award winner, who I will hand over to now to share a few words on her experience of the award.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and be back in the FEA family and see some new faces. And yeah, I appreciate the invitation, Cheyenne and Tisha, to join you. And I'm already so impressed with the program today. Thank you, everyone who has already spoken, and thank you, everyone who is here to celebrate the new award winners. Congratulations to all of you. I'll start by introducing myself formally. I'm Dana Saxon, the founder of Ancestors Unknown. And yeah, as Cheyenne mentioned, I'm a 2020 award winner, and my intention is with Ancestors Unknown to introduce young people to a new way of learning history and really to disrupt history education by introducing young people to family history research and other untold histories in a classroom context, but also taking those conversations at home and within their communities. So the goal as an innovator and as a business founder, I think has always been for me to, as we've been talking about already today, impact the lives of young people and give them better opportunities. Now, that is not something that just comes naturally. If you have a great idea to start a business, I think any entrepreneur can say, comes a little bit of psychosis with that. Like, I'm going to start something new. I'm going to create change, and I'm going to do things differently. Something's not working, so I want to create change, and that it's a wonderful intention. But if you're like me, you need support to do that. You need people to believe in you to do that. You need to know how to do that and how to effectively make that change. And so it was such a perfect time when I learned about Fair Education Alliance, because it's not just the grant and the support, but it's also the idea that there are all of these people who believe in fair education and who believe in creating change, which, as an entrepreneur who felt that way, and I really wanted to do this work and commit to it full time, without that support in my regular life, I've typically had this sense of naysayers, people saying that certain things aren't possible, or there are too many challenges and there are too many barriers, not only in education, and that it's too late to create change, these types of negative feelings, but also you don't have what it takes, or that might be coming from more internally. You don't have what it takes, or it's going to be too difficult. So I feel like, when you do have this type of innovation and you do have this belief in young people and creating change, we need this type of community to make it happen and to believe in our possibilities. So it's just been such a game changer for me to join the FEA family and be a part of the incubator and get the experience, but also being a part of this FEA world has also made so much of a difference. So I'm so pleased that the new award winners will have this opportunity that we had last year. And I can't wait to see all of the work that you all are able to achieve and the work that we can accomplish together as a result. So congratulations again, and I'm looking forward to learning more about you in the future.
Thank you, Dana. So great to hear about your experience of the award and the progress you made through the year-long program. It's been wonderful to see the progress Ancestors Unknown has made over the past year. And in particular, it was heartening for me to hear about the sense of community you derived from being a part of the award. We will now be moving into our showcase, our spotlight on the Innovation and Intrapreneurship Award winners. And I will now be handing over to Tisha for the segment.
Great. So we're so delighted now to be celebrating our fantastic 2021 award winners today. We received an incredibly high caliber of applications and undertook a rigorous selection process to select this year's winners. And a huge thank you to all the expert judges across the membership and wider network who supported with selection. Collectively, these initiatives have the potential to really shift the dial on educational inequality, because they bring together interventions ranging from direct delivery to systemic change. Today, you'll learn about our award winners' work with some of the most vulnerable children and young people, their focus on developing the whole child, and their innovative approaches to supporting parents and teachers.
Our 10 award winners will leverage the expertise and connections of our membership of over 230 cross-sector organizations to enhance the impact of their initiatives. So this is a journey the whole Alliance is part of. As you all know, what makes the Alliance so powerful is the fact that collaboration and collective action is at the heart of everything we do. So as you learn more about our award winners today, we want you to collaborate and take action by drawing on your experience and expertise to consider what support you could offer the award winners in making the greatest impact.
Now you're going to have the opportunity to learn more as we move into thematic breakout rooms for a panel discussion and Q&A with a selection of award winners in each room. I'll now share the focus of each room, and please also note the Twitter handles of your chairs and award winners so you can live tweet and amplify the fab discussion in each of these important themes. So, room 1 will focus on those initiatives particularly targeting some of the most vulnerable children and young people, chaired by Natalie Pereira, Chief Executive of the Education Policy Institute and Trustee of the Fair Education Alliance. In this room, you'll hear from 3 award winners focused on children in care, equity and anti-bias culture in schools, and supporting the complex needs of children experiencing coastal poverty. In room 2, you will be focused on developing the whole child, chaired by Liz Robinson, co-director of Big Education. In this room, you'll hear from 3 award winners focused on employability skills, apprenticeships, and supporting young people at risk from gangs and youth violence. And finally, in room 3, you will focus on supporting parents and teachers, chaired by Andrea Sylvan, co-head teacher of School 360. In this room, you'll hear from 3 award winners helping parents in Manchester to better support their children's emotional needs, supporting teachers to process working with young people with a range of complex needs, and supporting Black educators to attain positions of senior leadership in schools. After you've learned more about these themes, the award winners and their work, we'll all come back here to the main room, and we'll take some time to reflect, hearing from our chairs on their kind of key reflections from leading those thematic discussions, and critically to hear from you on what offers of support you can make to accelerate the award winners' progress.
Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. We hope you've had a thought-provoking discussion in your respective breakout rooms. We'll spend the next about 10 minutes to share reflections and offers of support from the breakout rooms. Let's start with the room focused on supporting the most vulnerable children and young people. Can I request Natalie, our chair for the room, to share a key reflection that captures the essence of our discussion?
Absolutely, and it was a great privilege for me to be able to chair this group, given my motivation and passion to improve outcomes. Some of the common themes that we talked about amongst our 2021 award winners and other participants in the session was the why this is important, and there was lots of recognition that inequalities are widening. They were widening before the pandemic, and they're continuing to widen as a result. And Sinead made a really good point that we can't just keep doing the same thing. And there's a great saying in research that it's very unwise to keep doing the same thing and expect the same and expect a different result rather. We also talked about the fact that with limited resource, early intervention, which we know can be key to tackling some of these long-term inequalities, but early intervention is often being overlooked, and so programs that seek to get there early with vulnerable children and the people working with vulnerable children are incredibly important. We talked about some of the challenges, and Curtis from Class 13 made a really good point that often, because we don't want confrontation, we don't want tension, we don't want to rock the boat too much, we seek to make small adjustments to policy and to practice. Maybe what we need is more radical reform. We need to really rock the boat. We really need to shake things up. We need to balance the kind of education of pupils with the education of the sector and the people working around and with pupils. That's as important as educating and empowering young people. We talked about some of the ways in which the sector can support innovation, and we all agreed there's the importance of sharing good practice and collaborating. If we leave institutions, so schools, for example, on their own, if we isolate them, they can sometimes make the wrong decision, even with the best of intentions. So it's important that we can come together to collaborate and that we don't just work with pupils, but we work with their families and we work with the people who are around them as well in a multi-agency way, recognizing that multi-agency working brings its own challenges too.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Love those insights and very succinctly captured around the need for innovation, early intervention, radical reform as opposed to incremental change, and collaboration and operating in a kind of multi-stakeholder approach. I will now come to the room on developing the whole child, and I will pass this imaginary microphone to Liz, the chair for the room, for reflection, please.
Imaginary microphone received, thank you. So thanks, everyone. We had a fantastic discussion and 3 amazing individuals and organisations. We started off really talking about the whole child and how sometimes when you start talking about a more holistic approach for children, it gets put in the bucket of being low on standards and having low expectations and somehow being a bit soft. So we had an interesting discussion about that and how actually we are double disadvantaging children if we don't give them a more holistic education, children from more disadvantaged backgrounds, because every parent who has the wherewithal, i.e. the finances to pay for the more expensive stuff, does pay for it. And so children, if they're not getting that as part of their daily diet in school, you know, it's just a lie that we tell children from disadvantaged backgrounds, work hard, study hard, get your core qualifications, your passport qualifications, and that's what employers want, because it's not what employers want. And we're setting them up for lower grade employment because top employers, middle grade employers want something more expensive, and that's what we hear loud and clear. So we had a discussion about that and about what we call these skills and kind of the soft skills argument, and we need some new language, like let's call them the tough skills, because actually often they are how we manage ourselves, how we manage our relationships and so on, actually much tougher than learning some knowledge, some powerful knowledge about whatever the subject might be. So we then talked a bit about kind of what the systemic issues are. And the 3 different award winners are, what was really striking was that they're doing things in extraordinarily creative ways, but they're working around the system rather than sort of their asks, their wishes were that the system made those things happen more in the day-to-day. So examples of be it around more project or work education that's focused more around business, but being done as after school clubs and in societies, as opposed to being a core part of what every child is entitled to every day, and the kind of community-based work, integrated working happening as something on the side rather than being kind of core. So we explored a little bit, well, why are schools not doing this stuff more as core, and sort of same old arguments around accountability, Ofsted over-focusing, over-indexing on academic outcomes at the expense of all things. So kind of what were the solutions around that? I think there's 4 quick points to make. One was about the narrative that schools are telling about themselves, how schools are articulating their purpose, and making a more expansive part or a more expansive view of a whole child education part of what they do, and owning that agenda. And that moved us on to talk about metrics, and we had some input there from Skills Builder, but how do we find quality ways of actually capturing some of these other things that we know are important and articulating them, because we value what we can measure. So if we value it, we need to find better ways of measuring it. So lots more could talk about that, but a bit about that. There was a real theme picking up from what Natalie said about collective approach, joined up, integrating across services, particularly including family, parents, and also wider community groups, thinking about holistically about the child in their place and in their context. And the last point to make was around business, and the role business as part of that partnership specifically. And the last point I'd just like to make on that, I think, is that one of my calls to action is mobilising the business community to be more explicitly and more boldly getting involved in this issue, because we've had the CBI telling us for years that we have a skills issue, and that the kind of skills that are coming out of the education sausage machine are not the skills that they actually want and need, but they're still a bit reticent about actually bowling into the debate about curriculum and assessment, because they sort of think it's not their business. So I think any of you that have any leverage to say, actually, business, you've got to make this your business, because you are the people actually this government are more likely to listen to, and the skills you get at the end are the output of all of those years of education. So if it's not what you want, get more involved in the debate and say, well, actually, how do we get what you want as employers, and what we need both for society and indeed the planet. So there you are.
Thank you so much, Liz. Absolutely resonate with everything you said there, and love the phrase tough skills. Last but not the least, let's hear from the room on supporting parents and teachers. I will come to Andrea for one key reflection from your breakout room, please.
Okay, the biggest key reflection for us, I think, was that supporting parents and teachers, we need to make it a priority. We heard about the importance of focusing on parents and their well-being, and that being the keystone of support for the children, and to address this as a priority to prevent intergenerational trauma being passed through generations. And that really does need to be looked at. We're also talking about some of the challenges for teachers in terms of their well-being, and how that kind of needs to come from the top, really, because if it's not a priority for leaders in schools, then it's impossible for it to filter down. So the theme that was coming through was make it a priority. And then when we were looking at race and representation of leaders in this country, the statistics were really, really shocking that came through, were quite shocking. And just saying how important representation is, and some of the points that were made, that first, we need to acknowledge that there is an issue with underrepresentation of Black leaders and head teachers in the school, and then the awareness of raising the profile of the issue and the action of how to offer support into the research, and that in places like America, there's a lot more research than there is here, and that there is support that can be gained in helping to look more deeply into it, sponsorship with bid writing, etc. But I think the biggest theme that came out was that it needs to be a priority, that we need to not shy away from issues such as, mental health of parents, of teachers, and race representation across the sector, that we need to go there. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea, and also Liz and Natalie, for so elegantly summarizing the discussions in your respective breakout rooms. I want us to take this moment for us to share a big round of applause for the award winners. We've all come through a rigorous selection process and have kind of come to this point and are creating some brilliant impact that you heard about in the breakout rooms. Awesome. Well, next we will take any offers of support from you, the audience, to help our Innovation and Intrapreneurship Award winners accelerate their impact. It might be that you have a relevant report you want an award winner to read. It might be that you have a connection to offer, or it could even be that you are in the know of a resource that can help a particular award winner further their work. Whatever your offer of support is, we'd love to know. We'll primarily do this via chat, so please feel free to share your offer of support on the chat now. Also, if you feel comfortable sharing your contact details to follow up, you can share them in the chat, either with the group or privately with the award winners. And I'll keep an eye out on the chat for any offers of support that come in, but I'll also talk about what's coming up next. So in the spirit of learning, we're now going to launch a poll shortly, so we can get your feedback to understand what you got from today and how we can iterate on the session in the future. The poll should be on your screen. You can scroll down to navigate to the different questions, and please ensure you answer all of them so we can hear from all of you. And keep your offers of support coming in the chat. After you're done with the poll, I'll give you a few moments to do both. I think, right, so it seems the poll isn't working. We can potentially move ahead, but Daniel, would you want to relaunch it, or should I move ahead for now?
just giving it one more go, Cheyenne. If people still can't do it now, we might want to move on.
Sounds good. Yeah, seems like it's working now. Perfect. Great. While you're completing that, I want to say a big thank you to the chairs, Natalie, Liz, and Andrea, for your brilliant chairing, award winners for your preparation, and attendees of today's session for your engagement. Next up, we have a networking session where Gina and Sam will be taking you on a journey to consider your trajectory over the next year, using the fever curve, which you might remember from yesterday. I will now hand over to Sam and Gina for the next part.
Thank you so much, everybody, for a wonderful session. So we're going to give you a quick comfort break because we're conscious that these are full-on packed agendas. So just a couple of minutes, if you could try and get back here for 19 minutes past at the latest, and just a chance to refresh yourselves, get ready, and you can finish capturing your offers of support in the chat, finish completing the poll, and then we'll see you back in 3 minutes for the next session.